Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video on Urgot, the top 5 things that you need to know when you are taking Urgot into ranked. My name is LowFit. I do educational content like guides, like these tip videos and opposition reports. If you want to get a hold of me and want to do some tips or even OPGG review, just let me know in the comments down below, or I'm going to put my Discord in the description if you want to just kind of have a live chat and hang out in the Discord with us. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. The first thing that I really want to talk about with Urgot is his very strong early game skirmishing, first of all, but most importantly, his ability to take Scuttle when you are your jungler isn't around. He's really enabled by, first up, his stun that's going to take away the armor and magic resist on the Scuttler, and then also his percentage health damage done on his legs just makes you just blow through these crabs. So make sure to take as many scuttles as you possibly can from the top lane. He is a very high econ champion. When he's really effective with a lot of gold, so make sure to secure as many scuttle crabs as you can, and you have a lot of pushing power as Urgot with your Q being AoE and your W being AoE and your E being AoE. So sometimes you can just look to push in the wave very quickly and try and grab that scuttle crab, and that will wrap up number 1. Alright, and let's just jump right into number 2. Now let's talk about his ult. It's one of the most iconic abilities that he has, and I am of the mindset there are 3 different ways to effectively use your ult. Let's just start up with the most secured, the easiest way to get a ult on a champion. This is usually best used against squishies that you can burst out really quickly, and you don't need the full you don't really need them too weak to start getting them in that range. For example, these would be champions like Quinn and Kennen that they're not going to really survive much of a combo, and by doing this combo, it will really enable you against those squishies. So what you're going to be doing is your E into R into Q and then into your W. So this is going to guarantee your ult to hit when they are stunned from your E. So this is just the safest way to throw out your ult and guarantee that ult proc on squishy champions. This also works well in team fights because there's a lot of other damage sources coming out of the team fight, so that's a great way to do it. Also, the second one, where it's a little bit more risky, but you're gonna have a little bit more chance to burn them down and get them to that low damage threshold. It would be your E into your Q and then R off the slow of it, and just get the damage down that way. And that's going to be a little bit less safe because they might be able to flash because they're not going to be stunned when you're throwing out your ult, but you will have a little bit more uptime. You're going to have that Q proc damage and your first leg damage before you throw out your ult, so you have a little bit more time to burn people down. And then thirdly, it would just be throwing out your ult from range into Q, into E, and then into W is another way to do it. It's a little bit more risky of a way to play your ult, but those are I think the 3 different ways you should try approaching Urgot's ult. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I know there's a couple different ways, but those are the main 3 archetypes of how I look to do it, and it's just kind of based on the type of champion that I am fighting. Alright, let's just jump right into number 3. Now this is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to have anything to do with micro, but it's going to have to do with your decision making on Urgot. Now he is an extremely flexible champion with his keystones, so I think that there are 3 different ways to approach it. First up, we have press the attack. Really good all-around team fighting keystone because it's going to increase the damage from all sources, as well as a really strong early game dueling keystone, and it's extremely easy to proc with your W because each one of those really quick attacks is going to give you one of those, and the proc does true damage, so it's not reduced by this, applies 33% on hit damage from your W, so you do not have to worry about that. This is probably one of the most aggressive runes, and it's I would say one of the better scaling ones. Second up, we would have Comet. Now Comet synergizes extremely well with your Q. It enables you against champions like Quinn, like Teemo, like Jace, like Kennen, where you really are just taking a lot of poke trades and you're not doing too many all-ins. That is when I would recommend you doing the Comet. And keep in mind that this is just mainly a laning keystone. It's not going to scale as well as some of the other runes I've talked about with the Press the Attack or Aftershock. So just just kind of be wary of that if you're just looking to dominate lane, or if you know you're absolutely going to outscale that champion. If you make it into team fights, for example, if it's a Teemo or a Quinn, you're most likely going to outperform them in the mid-late team fights. It is a decent rune to just kind of poke people out and maintain a good CS lead on them. So third, we're going to talk about Aftershock. Now, Aftershock is a good ability when your team just needs a tank. They don't need too much of a carry out of the top lane. They have a Vayne in the ADC, you have a Brand in support, you have a Kha'Zix out of the jungle, you have a Fizz out of mid. You just have damage everywhere. All your team needs for you to do is just to enable yourself to be as much of a top laner as possible, and I'd recommend just a Black Cleaver into a full on tank build. And Aftershock is really easily procced by your E, and you almost guarantee the damage of your Aftershock proc with your Q slow, and they are always going to be generally close to you when you are proccing that Aftershock. It's proc two different ways. First up, from just having your ult go off, and then second off, of course, your E. So this is a lot more of a defensive room, but again, due to Urgot's just great flexibility, he's able to kind of pick and choose what he needs. He doesn't have one keystone that he just has to use every single game. Alright, let's get into Urgot's item build. Now, he is very flexible, again, similar to his keystones on what he can build. I would recommend, just kind of as a rule of thumb, if you are doing okay or if you're just going even, you would go 1 to 2 offensive items and then into a defensive build. And usually the best 1 to 2 items that you can build on Urgot that is the most effective are Black Cleaver and Frozen Mallet. They are just really amplified a lot by your W, because you're proccing your on-hit abilities on everyone around you in the Purge. So really look to take advantage of those 2 items. I know it's pretty obvious. A lot of people are going to know that those are 2 great items on Urgot. But I don't think that you should be going any more offensive if you are behind, because he is required to be pretty up front and up close and personal with people to be effective in the team fight. But when you are getting more ahead, you can look into things like Maw, you can look into things like Death's Dance, you can look into things, obviously Guardian Angel is a great pick a lot of the time, so you can go a little bit more of those aggressive builds. But let's talk some of the defensive items that I found are extremely effective and enable Urgot's kit. One of my particular favorites that I don't see too many people using is the Randuin's Omen. It's very good against the highest played ADC right now in Jhin, who's rushing that Stormrazor and has a lot of damage behind his crits. Also, this slow enables you to hit more Qs, and it enables your ult a bit more. Also, things like Dead Man's Plate is great for movement speed and chasing down people if you're in a good spot in the 1v1, because generally Urgot is a decent duelist. I kind of classify him as in between a split pusher and a team fighter. He has a nice kind of balance in the middle. He's not as good of a split pusher as Fiora, but he's a better team fighter than Fiora, and he's not really as good as a team fighter as something like Malphite, but he's definitely better in the solo lane than Malphite. So he's like, has a nice balance where he can perform really where he needs to, just not at the super high levels. He's a jack of all trades, and he's a master of none. So it's a really interesting play style, and look to kind of screw around with your items. When you get super far ahead, you can go things like even Youmu's. You can go that will really help with your movement speed and chasing people down with your W. So really look to experiment. There's a lot of cool items that work pretty well on Urgot, and you can even, if you're super far ahead, you can even do something like Blade of the Rune King to slow them down and really ensure a lot of things. So make sure that you're controlling the movement speed delta with these items. That's one thing that I really wanted to hit on, because he really thrives on slowing people down and speeding himself up. Those are usually fail-safe items. Also, something that will do that more on the defensive end is Righteous Glory. Can be really good if your team needs an engage. So really look to fill in the holes that your team needs. All right, and that will wrap up kind of my spiel on items. I know that there's probably going to be a lot of different opinions with this, so please let me know if you found a really successful build in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I always love trying new things, so just comment down below. Alright, and finally, let's get into the biggest, the flashiest play that you can do with Urgot to really carry those team fights. It would look something like this. So you're going to try and get a pick, you're going to E-flip someone back, and your team is going to start focusing them. and you're gonna try and just kill someone as quickly as possible, and then you want to go an R and then flash into someone if you want to get a particular squishy, and making sure that you're getting that 1.5 second flee and terror. And this is going to provide a lot of CC first up, and they're going to be slowed when they're running away. So look to flash and into as many people as possible in the team fights to get that AoE fear. This is the absolute best way to carry team fights. I can't emphasize this more. It's just try and get a super quick kill on Urgot and fear as many people. If you guys found a super cool thing that you like doing that I didn't mention with carrying team fights, please let me know in the comments down below. I love talking to you guys, and Urgot's definitely one of my most played and favorite champions, so let me know. And that will wrap up my 5 tips for Urgot. If you guys enjoyed the content, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm really trying to hit that 1K mark, and we're getting so close. I'm so excited. I have a bunch of really cool video ideas for the 1,000 sub special. Yeah, and as always, guys, you can check out the Discord in the description down below. I'm going to put my Twitter there as well if you want to talk to me on that platform. And yeah, take it easy, guys.